Commander Hyan-Woo pressed his palms against the cold metal railing of the bridge, staring out at the endless black void ahead. Stars dotted the darkness like scattered diamonds. And somewhere among them lay humanity's future. The UES asterisk Sejong asterisk hummed quietly as it cut through space, leading 11 other massive colony ships toward the Kepler sector. 50,000 people. He whispered to himself, thinking about all the families sleeping in cryopods below, farmers, engineers, teachers, children who had never seen an open sky. They were counting on this mission to give them new worlds too. Call home. Lieutenant Sojin looked up from her station, her fingers dancing across holographic displays. Sir, long-range sensors are picking up something big, really big. Her voice carried a note of concern that made everyone on the bridge turn toward her. What kind of big? Commander Hyan-Woo asked. Moving closer to her station, known vessels. Sir, hundreds of them, maybe thousands. They're ranged in what looks like a battle formation, blocking our path to the Kepler systems. The bridge fell silent except for the soft beeping of instruments. Communications officer Lee. Minho cleared, his throat nervously. Commander, we're receiving an incoming transmission. It's not human. Put it on screen. The main display crackled to life, revealing a face that belonged in humanity's worst nightmares, Admiral Kethmar of the Vorthik. Empire stared at them with burning red eyes set in a reptilian skull covered in golden scales. When he spoke, his voice was like rocks grinding together. Even through the universal translator, primitive humans, he hissed, showing rows of razor-sharp teeth. You dare pollute sacred Vorthik space with your pathetic metal boxes. This is your final warning. Turn your ships round and crawl back to whatever rock you came from. Or we will scatter your atoms across the void. Navigator Jamin looked at his instruments and whispered, Sir, their fleet. I'm counting over 3,000 ships. Our scanners show weapons we've never seen before. Captain Donghain stepped forward, his boots clicking on the metal deck. At 55, he had the kind of calm that came from 30 years in space. His graying hair was neat, his uniform pressed, and his voice steady as ancient stone. Admiral Kevmara, he said politely, I'm Captain Donghain of the United Earth Colonial Fleet. We're peaceful settlers looking for uninhabited worlds to call home. Our surveys show these systems are empty. We have no intention of interfering with your empire. Kethmora's laugh sounded like metal being torn apart. Uninhabited, foolish mammals. Your primitive senses cannot detect the true nature of space. Every star, every planet, every grain of cosmic dust in this sector belongs to the Vorthik Empire. We have claimed it for 1,000 years, but there are no colonies, no stations, no signs of habitation. Captain Donghain replied, We do not colonize like you breeding mammals. Kethmar snarled. We claim through conquest and hold through strength. These systems are ours by right of superior power. Tactical Officer Park Suho studied his displays with growing alarm. Captain, their weapons are charging. Energy signatures are off the charts. Each of their ships could probably destroy our entire fleet. Kevmara leaned forward, his golden scales glittering under the bridge lights. You have exactly one solar cycle 24 of your primitive hours to retreat beyond the outer marker beacons. If you are still here when the time expires, the Grand Armada will turn your ships into space debris and your colonists into frozen corpses drifting in the void. The transmission cut off abruptly, leaving the bridge in tense silence. Commander Hyan-Woo stared at the tactical display showing the massive alien fleet. Each Vorthik ship was 3 times the size of their largest colony vessel, bristling with weapon systems that glowed with ominous energy. Captain, he said quietly, we're completely outgunned. Our ships weren't built for war. We have mining lasers and basic defensive shields. But against that, he gestured at the display. Captain Don Hyan walked to the main viewport and stared. Out at the alien fleet, in the distance, he could see their ship stuck, angular things that looked like they were built for one purpose: destruction. "Sir," Communications Officer Lee Min-ho called out, "what should I tell the other ships? The colony vessel captains are requesting orders." Captain Don Hyan was quiet for a long moment. Then he turned round, and Commander Hyan Wu saw something. In his eyes not fear, but determination. "Send a message to Earth Command," the captain said calmly. "Priority Alpha encryption. Tell them the situation and tell them it's time." "Time for what, sir?" Commander Hyan Wu asked. Captain Dong Hyun's smile was cold as space itself. "Tell them to activate Project Quantum Gate. And Minho, open a channel to all colony ships." "Channel open, sir. Attention all vessels," Captain Dong Hyan announced. "We've encountered hostile aliens who claim ownership of our destination systems. They've given us 24 hours to retreat. I want everyone to know we're not going anywhere. Begin countdown protocol. 24 hours and counting." Commander Hyan Wu stared at his captain. "Sir, what exactly is Project Quantum Gate?" Captain Dong Hyan looked out at the alien fleet again. "Something we hoped we'd never have to use, Commander. But humanity learned long ago that sometimes the only way to achieve peace is to demonstrate overwhelming strength." Science Officer Jinny stared at her holographic displays aboard the massive Vorthok flagship Dominion Fist *, her scaled fingers trembling as she adjusted the quantum sensors. 23 hours had passed since Admiral Kethmar's ultimatum, and something was terribly wrong with the readings from the human fleet. "This can't be right," she whispered, running the scans for the 5th time. The numbers were the same, impossible, but the same round her. The bridge of the Dominion Fist buzzed with activity. Tactical officers monitored weapon systems. Communication specialists tracked human transmissions, and navigation crews maintained the perfect battle formation of 3,000 Vorthok warships. But Jinny's instruments were telling her a story that made her blood run cold. "Admiral Kethmar," she called out, her voice cutting through the bridge chatter. "I need to report something urgent." The massive reptilian admiral sat on his command, throned like an ancient dragon, his golden scales reflecting the red battle lights, his burning eyes fixed on her, and his razor-sharp claws clicked impatiently against the metal armrests. "Speak," he growled. "The quantum signatures round the human fleet, sir. They're not normal. In fact, they're increasing at an exponential rate. The energy readings are—" She paused, double-checking her instruments. "They're impossible according to everything we know about physics." Commander Veltha, the ship's tactical officer, laughed harshly. "Impossible. Those primitive mammals barely understand fire, let alone quantum mechanics. Your instruments must be malfunctioning." Jenny shook her head firmly. "I've run full diagnostics 3 times. The readings are accurate. Admiral, they're somehow generating quantum-locked space-time distortions around their entire fleet." The bridge fell silent. Even the background hum of the ship's engine seemed to fade. "Explain what that means," Admiral Kethmar demanded, leaning forward on his throne. "Sir, quantum-locked space-time is purely theoretical. It would require technology that can manipulate the fundamental structure of reality itself. According to our best scientists, any attempt to create such distortions should tear apart anything within 1,000 kilometers. But the human ships, they're not just surviving these distortions, they're somehow stabilizing them." Jinny's hands flew across her controls as new readings flooded in. "Admiral, I'm detecting what appears to be a dimensional anchor point forming at the center of their fleet. It's like they're creating a gateway to somewhere else." Communications Officer Zarkid suddenly looked up from his station. "Admiral, The humans are broadcasting on all frequencies. It's their fleet commander. Put it on speakers, Kethmar ordered. Captain Donghyun's calm voice filled the bridge of the Vorthik flagship. Vorthik Fleet. This is Captain Donghyun of the UES Sejong*. Your deadline is approaching. We want you to understand that humanity has had 200 years to prepare for this moment. We've learned that in this galaxy, peaceful intentions mean nothing without the power to back them up. Admiral Kethmar Eisnerud. What is that mammal talking about? Jenny's instruments suddenly erupted in a cascade of warnings. Red lights flashed across her station as the quantum readings spiked beyond anything she'd ever seen. Admiral, she shouted over the alarms. The distortions are reaching critical levels. I'm detecting massive gravitational anomalies forming round their position. Whatever they're doing, it's actually affecting the fabric of space and time itself. The main tactical display showed the human fleet. -1 small ships dwarfed by the massive Vorthik armada. But now those ships were surrounded by swirling energy patterns that seemed to bend light itself. Weapons officer, Admiral Kethmar recommended, target their lead ship. If they want to play with forces beyond their understanding, we'll put them out of their misery. Sir, I can't get a weapons lock, the gunner reported, panic creeping into his voice. The targeting systems can't penetrate whatever field they're generating. Captain Donghyun's voice continued broadcasting. The countdown has begun. 10, 9, 8, 7. Jenny watched her instruments in horror as the readings climbed beyond the measurement scales. Admiral, the quantum distortions are spreading. They're creating ripples in spacetime that are affecting our entire fleet. 6, 5, 4, 3. Ships throughout the Vorthik formation began reporting system malfunctions as the reality-bending effects reached them. Navigation computers crashed. Weapon systems flickered. And artificial gravity fluctuated wildly. Sir, I strongly recommend immediate fleet withdrawal. Jenny screamed over the chaos of alarms and emergency reports flooding the bridge. Whatever they're about to do, we don't want to be here when it happens. 2, 1. Captain Donghyun's final words carried across space with the weight of destiny. Welcome to the New Age. The universe itself seemed to hold its breath for one perfect moment of silence. Then reality cracked like breaking glass. Jenny watched in terror as space itself split open in front of the human fleet. It wasn't an explosion or an energy discharge, it was something far worse. The very fabric of existence tore apart, revealing a darkness beyond darkness. A void between dimensions where the laws of physics held no meaning. Through that impossible rift, something was coming. The tear in space spread like a crack in black ice, growing wider with each passing second. Through the impossible rift, something emerged that made every Vorthik warrior question everything they thought they knew about. Reality. The UES Taewon didn't simply appear, it materialized across multiple layers of existence simultaneously. The massive warship existed as both solid metal and pure energy. Its hull shifting between states like liquid mercury frozen in time. Parts of the ship seemed to fade in and out of reality, while other sections glowed with an inner light that hurt to look at directly. Commander Yunho stood on the bridge of this impossible vessel, his hands steady on the railing despite having just traveled through dimensions that didn't have names. Round him, his crew worked at stations that displayed information from realities beyond normal space. They had spent 3 years training for this moment, learning to think in ways that would have driven ordinary humans insane. Quantum field generators stable, reported Lieutenant Hajin from the engineering station. Dimensional anchors are holding us in normal space, but we can phase shift on command. Weapon systems are online but locked, added Lieutenant Yunji from Tactical. All departments report ready for demonstration protocols. Captain Sangwook walked slowly across the bridge. his boots making no sound on the deck that existed in 17 dimensions at once. He was a man who had volunteered to become something beyond human. Someone who could command a ship that operated outside the laws of physics. Open communications to all vessels in the area, he ordered quietly. The main screen showed the Vorthok fleet in perfect detail, 3,000 warships that suddenly looked like toys compared to the ray. Reality-bending monster that had just emerged from impossible space, broadcasting on all frequencies, sir. Confirmed communications, Officer DA-UN. Captain Sangwook's voice carried across the void, reaching every ship in the Vorthok Armada with crystal clarity. Vorthok Fleet, this is Captain Sangwook of the quantum-locked warship *Taewong*. We came here seeking peaceful colonization. We offered diplomatic solutions. You responded with threats of annihilation. He paused, watching the alien fleet through sensors that could see across multiple realities. Now witness what happens when humanity is forced to abandon peaceful solutions. The demonstration began without warning. The *Taewong* simply moved forward and passed directly through 3 Vorthok destroyers as if they were made-o' smoke. The alien ship's hulls offered no resistance as the human warship phased through them, existing in quantum states that allowed it to occupy the same space as solid matter without touching it. Aboard the Vorthok flagship, Science Officer Jinay screamed warnings into her communicator. The human ship just passed through our destroyer squadron. Their hulls are intact, but the energy readings, it's like the human vessel exists in a different layer of reality. But the demonstration was just beginning. The *Taewong* suddenly appeared in 4 different locations round the Vorthok fleet, each image solid and real. Scanner sweeps confirmed that all 4 versions of the ship were physically present, not holograms or projections. How is this possible? Whispered Navigation Officer Park Titan aboard the quantum ship's bridge. We exist in quantum superposition, Captain Sangwook explained calmly. Until observed and measured, we can be in multiple states and locations simultaneously. It's like being everywhere and nowhere at the same time. The alien fleet tried to target the human warship, but their weapons couldn't lock onto something that existed in multiple quantum states. Every time they thought they had a firing solution, the *Taewong* would shift into a different dimensional phase, becoming untouchable. Lieutenant Yunji looked up from her weapons console. Captain, shall we demonstrate our offensive capabilities? Negative. Captain Sangwook replied firmly. No weapons fire. Let them understand the futility of resistance through observation alone. Instead, the warship reached out with invisible tendrils of manipulated spacetime. A nearby asteroid field became the stage for an impossible display of power. Rocks the size of mountains began moving like floating pebbles, rearranging themselves into perfect geometric patterns. The *Taewong* was literally reaching across space and rearranging matter with pure gravitational manipulation. Commander Yunho watched the tactical display as panic spread through the Vorthok fleet. Sir, their formation is breaking down. Ships are pulling back from our position. Create a localized gravity well. Captain Sangwook ordered. The space around the *Taewang* suddenly bent inward, creating a visible distortion where light itself curved and twisted. The massive warship sat at the center of its own artificial black hole, completely unaffected by gravitational forces that should have crushed it instantly. Then, the ship did something that made even seasoned space veterans feel sick to their stomachs. It bent light round itself, becoming completely invisible while simultaneously remaining perfectly visible. The human warship existed in a state of optical paradox, there and not there at the same time. Sir, reported Sensor Operator Kim Minar, the Vorthok fleet is in complete chaos. Half their ships are requesting permission to retreat, and their Flagship has stopped responding to our scans. Captain Sangwook nodded slowly. Broadcast final message. His voice carried across space one more time. Admiral Kethmar, you demanded that we retreat instead. We have shown you what happens when you threaten a species that has learned to harness the fundamental forces of reality itself. Your move, the *Taiwan* held its position, a ship that existed everywhere and nowhere, waiting for the Vorthic Empire's response to humanity's new age of power. The bridge of the Dominion Fist had become a nightmare of flashing red lights and screaming alarms. Admiral Kethmar gripped the armrests of his command throne so tightly that his razor-sharp claws left deep gouts in the metal. Round him, his most experienced officers stared at their instruments in complete disbelief. Tactical report. Kethmar roared, his voice cutting through the chaos. Commander Velther looked up from his station, his golden scales pale with fear. Admiral, 30% of our fleet is requesting immediate retreat orders. The remaining ships can't maintain formation. Their navigation systems are being affected by the gravitational distortions from that thing. Science Officer Janae wiped sweat from her scaled forehead as she frantically worked her controls. Her instruments were giving readings that broke every law of physics she'd ever learned. Admiral, I need to give you the full analysis, and you're not going to like it. Speak. That human ship exists in what we call quantum superposition. It's simultaneously solid matter and pure energy, present and absent, real and unreal. Every time our targeting systems try to lock onto it, the quantum uncertainty principle makes it impossible to pin down its exact location or state. The Admiral's burning eyes narrowed dangerously. Explain that in terms I can understand. Ginny took a shaky breath. Imagine trying to hit a target that's in 10 different places at once. But also nowhere at all. That's what we're facing. Our weapons are designed to destroy physical objects, but this ship exists beyond physical reality. Suddenly, the human captain's voice filled their bridge again. Calm and measured despite the impossible demonstration of power surrounding his words. Admiral Kethmar, I want you to understand something about humanity. We spent centuries being the weakest species on our own planet. We learned to survive not through superior strength, but through superior intelligence and adaptation. The voice paused, and through the main viewport, they could see the Taiwan performing another impossible feat, bending space round itself so that it appeared to be both approaching and retreating sea. Simultaneously, when we finally reached the stars, we discovered that the galaxy operates on a simple principle. Might makes right. Peaceful species are enslaved or destroyed. Diplomatic species become servants to warrior races. We realized that if humanity was going to survive, we needed to become something that even the most powerful empires would fear to challenge. Communications Officer Zarkid suddenly looked up from his station, his voice trembling. Admiral, I'm receiving surrender signals from ships across the fleet. The destroyer Voidrender is requesting permission to withdraw. The battle cruiser Death's Edge reports total weapon system failure due to quantum interference. How many ships? Kethmara demanded. 17 vessels have broadcast formal surrender, sir. More are joining them every minute. The human ships. Demonstration continued, and each new impossible feat sent waves of terror through the Vorthic ranks. The Taiwan reached out with invisible hands of manipulated gravity and began rearranging the debris field from a destroyed asteroid, constructing a perfect replica of the Vorthic flagship in less than 60 seconds. They're building things with pure gravitational force, whispered Janae. Admiral, this technology is so far beyond ours that we might as well be throwing rocks at the sun. On the Taiwan Communication Officer Haywan turned to Captain Sangwook with an update. Captain, We're now receiving surrender broadcasts from 43 Vorthik vessels. Their fleet discipline is collapsing rapidly. Captain Sangwook nodded grimly. The demonstration had gone exactly as planned. Humanity had learned long ago that sometimes the only way to achieve peace was to make war so. Terrifying that enemies chose cooperation instead. Open a direct channel to Admiral Kethmar's flagship. He ordered. The channel crackled to life. And Captain Sangwook's image appeared on the main screen of the Vorthik bridge. He looked completely human, completely normal, which somehow made him even more terrifying to the alien warriors who had just witnessed his ship break the laws of reality. Admiral Kethmar, Captain Sangwook said, his voice carrying the weight of absolute certainty. Let me make this very simple for you. Humanity didn't develop quantum lock technology for conquest. We developed it for survival. We created ships that exist beyond conventional reality because we learned that in this galaxy, peaceful intentions are worthless without the power to enforce them. The asterisk Taewong asterisk suddenly appeared directly above the Vorthik flagship, close enough that it's impossible to fulfill their viewport. The quantum distortions round the human warship made the space round them ripple like water. Your choice is simple. Captain Sangwook continued. Accept our original proposal for a peaceful colonization of uninhabited systems. Establish formal treaties recognizing human sovereignty in this sector. And become our partners in maintaining galactic stability. Or continue to threaten us and discover what happens when a species that can manipulate reality itself decides to stop being patient. Admiral Kethmar stared at the impossible ship hovering above them. His mighty empire, built on 1,000 years of conquest and domination, had just been reduced to helplessness by 12 human colony ships and one vessel that shouldn't exist. His proud bearing finally crumbled. With claws that shook from rage and fear, he activated the fleet-wide communication system. All Vorthik vessels, his voice carried across the void. Heavyweight defeat. This is Admiral Kethmar. Stand down immediately. Lower all shields and power down weapon systems. Broadcast full surrender on all frequencies. He paused, the words tasting like poison in his mouth. The Vorthik Empire yields to human authority in the Kebler sector. We acknowledge their superior power and request formal negotiations for a peaceful coexistence. The age of human expansion had begun, and the galaxy would never be the same 3 days after the surrender. The main conference hall aboard the UES Sejong had been transformed into something resembling a galactic summit. Human colonists pressed against the observation windows, watching history unfold before their eyes. Children who had never seen an alien before stared in wonder at the reptilian delegates moving through the corridors. Admiral Kethmar entered the hall flanked by his remaining senior officers. Their golden scales now dulled and their proud bearing replaced by the careful movements of defeated warriors. The massive Vorthik commander had to duck through doorways designed for humans, his towering frame making even the spacious colony ship feel cramped. Captain Dong Hyan stood at the ceremonial table, wearing his dress uniform with the fresh insignia of humanity's first colonial fleet. Beside him, representatives from Earth's government had arrived via Quantum Gate, their faces showing the mixture of pride and amazement that came with witnessing humanity's first major galactic victory. Before we begin, Captain Dong Hyan announced to the mixed gathering of humans and aliens, I want everyone to understand what we're witnessing today. This isn't just a treaty signing. This is the moment humanity officially takes its place among the galactic powers. Through the massive viewports, the Taewong hung in space like a ghost ship, its hull shimmering between dimensions. The quantum-locked warship served as a constant reminder of what had changed everything, Ilian. Delegates couldn't stop staring at it. their instruments still unable to properly scan something that existed in multiple realities simultaneously. Admiral Kethmar approached the treaty table with slow, deliberate steps. His red eyes met Captain Donghyun steadily, and when he spoke, his voice carried the weight of an empire's acknowledgement. The Vorthik Empire, he began formally, recognizes human sovereignty over the Kepler sector and all systems contained within the agreed boundaries. We pledge complete non-interference with human colonization efforts and hereby establish full diplomatic relations between our peoples. The golden seal of the Vorthik Empire, carved from crystallized starfire, made a soft clicking sound as it was placed beside Captain Donghyun's signature on the quantum-encoded treaty documents. Captain Sangwook stood at the back of the ceremony, still wearing the modified uniform that allowed him to phase between dimensions with his ship. His presence made several alien delegates visibly nervous. He was the human who had demonstrated that their species could manipulate reality itself. Captain Donghyun, Admiral Kethmar continued, his voice now carrying genuine respect. I want the humans to know that the Vorthik Empire has ruled this region of space for over a millennium. In all that time, no species has ever forced us to negotiate from a position of weakness. What your people accomplished in a single day has changed the balance of power in this entire spiral arm. The human captain nodded graciously. Admiral, humanity doesn't seek to replace one empire with another. We want to establish a new model of galactic civilization, one based on mutual respect and shared prosperity rather than conquest and domination. A young human girl, maybe 10 years old, pressed her face against the observation window and pointed excitedly at the alien delegates. Mom, look, the lizard people are really tall. Admiral Kethmar, stern expression softened slightly at the child's innocent wonder. Your young ones have no fear of us, he observed. That's because they've never known a galaxy where humans were considered weak. Captain Donghyun replied, to them, this is just the natural order of things, as the formal ceremonies concluded. Captain Sangwook excused himself and returned to the *Taewon*. The quantum-locked warship's bridge existed in 17 dimensions simultaneously, making it feel both cramped and infinitely spacious at the same time. All stations, prepare for quantum phase transition, he announced to his crew. Set course for the Andorian cluster. Intelligence reports indicate 3 separate alien coalitions are planning to test human resolve in that region. Commander Yunho looked up from his station with a smile. Sir, we're receiving priority transmissions from across the galaxy. 17 different civilizations are requesting immediate diplomatic contact with Earth. The Zeltron Confederacy is offering a full alliance. The silicon-based architects want to trade technology. Even the machine intelligences from the Outer Rim are asking for meetings. Lieutenant Hygen at the communications station added, Captain, we are also getting reports that several aggressive species have suddenly announced they're reviewing their expansion policies. Apparently, word about what happened here is spreading faster than we expected. Captain Sangwook nodded with satisfaction. Patch all diplomatic requests through to Colonial Command on Earth. Let them know that the age of human expansion has officially begun. The *Taewon* began its impossible phase transition, existing in fewer and fewer dimensions as it prepared to slip between the layers of reality. Through the viewports, the crew could see normal space becoming distant and strange as they entered the quantum realm. Sir, Commander Yunho said as they drifted through the space between spaces, do you think we've really changed things, or will there always be another empire? Another threat? Captain Sangwook looked out at the swirling non-reality realm. Then, where time flowed backward and mathematics became poetry. Commander, 3 days ago, humans were considered a minor species barely worth noticing. Today, Every major power in the galaxy is reevaluating their policies toward Earth. I'd say we've definitely changed things. The quantum-locked warship completed its transition and vanished entirely from normal space-time, leaving behind a colony fleet that was no longer seeking permission to exist among the stars. In the vast emptiness of space, the human colony ships continued their journey toward the Kepler worlds, protected now by treaties backed by technologies that transcended conventional reality. The age of asking politely for a place in the galaxy was over. Humanity had arrived. And the universe would never be the same ... the end asterisk.